Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here. Ooh, matron, I say. I think I'm going to keep on saying that today. I don't know. Check out the Carry On films. They're so unpolitically correct. Every SJW will hate you for watching them. It's good to do. Anyway, welcome. So, Rotten Tomatoes has awarded a couple of IPs the Golden Tomato. Wow, what a great thing to have. So Black Panther has been given a Golden Tomato, and Doctor Who Season 11 has been given a Golden Tomato for getting such high critical reviews. Wow, but seeing that nobody in the public or the consumer actually trusts critics anymore, what value does the Golden Tomato have? Is the Golden Tomato actually a mark that says this film isn't as good as you're told it is, that it's an overhyped movie? Now, obviously, something like Aquaman won't get a Golden Tomato. We're around 60 to about 58 critical scores on Rotten Tomatoes. Does that say something? Well, it does, because the audience score is a hell of a lot higher, and the money that it's bringing in. Today's the day it's going to hit $1 billion. Probably won't be announced till tomorrow. So very exciting. Do look out for my $1 billion Aquaman video that I've been planning very thoroughly. You probably won't like it, but hey, you give it a watch anyway, right? Now, I'm sure a lot of YouTubers will be doing the $1 billion thing, so I'm a bit of a sheep. I'm going to do that as well. But my video will be very, very different to anything. Firstly, a lot of those videos you're going to see are going to be haters. They're going to be pretending it's a positive thing. Someone like Grace Randolph will do it, and then she'll tell us how bad the DCEU still is and how it's still got problems and issues and how nobody's subscribing to DC Universe, which is a blatant lie. Anyway, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the Golden Tomato Award, right? Now, for me, this site is so problematic. It really is. But there's another problem with this site. This site, and the people have actually wised up to this site now. People don't trust this site anymore. This is why, you see, you've got to look at it from the consumer's point of view. They see a film that they're underwhelmed by. Let's give an example. The Last Jedi. The Last Jedi is an underwhelming Star Wars film. It is the most underwhelming Star Wars film for many members of the consumer globally, even though it made a hell of a lot of money. This is another misunderstanding these days. Well, it made a lot of money. Making a lot of money, having big box office, doesn't mean that it's a really good film. Big global box office, big domestic box office, doesn't mean you've just watched the best film ever. That's point one. Point two, getting the Golden Tomato or getting a high critical score on Rotten Tomatoes is no more something that for studios to worry about or to be happy about, because the consumer no longer trusts Rotten Tomatoes. The consumer no longer trusts critics. It's very interesting the amount of the public, the movie-going audience that accuse bloggers and critics of being paid off by studios. Now, whether that's true or not, I think it's not. It's an irrelevant point now, because I don't think studios are going to do it anymore. Because guess what? The public, the consumer, don't trust critical media anymore. So they have a big problem. These sites, these bloggers, these pundits, nobody, Joe Public and Jane Public, who go and watch films, don't trust them anymore. They told us not to go and see Man of Steel. We went to see it in our droves. They told us not to go and see Batman v Superman. A lot of us loved it, didn't listen to them. A lot of people said a lot of interesting mixed things about Aquaman. Nobody listened to them. It's very, 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 very interesting how these people are now irrelevant. I remember as a kid, the only critic I knew was a man called Barry Norman. He used to review films in the newspapers. He used to do a show for the BBC called Film, and it would be whatever year. So film 97, film 2000 or whatever, right? But even though I hardly used to agree with him, because he used to hate blockbusters mostly, he used to like foreign films and independent films. And when you're a youngster, you care about the blockbusters, about the Back to the Futures and things like that. And you don't want someone shitting on those type of movies when you're young. It's only now that I think he's passed away. I'm not sure if he has. I'm sorry he hasn't. It's only now that I actually remember Barry a lot more fondly, because actually he was telling the truth about Hollywood and the blockbuster mainstream system. And he was right to big up foreign language movies and independent movies. They do have a lot more to them than these blockbusters do. And I love superhero films. I love some of the blockbusters that Hollywood do, but still they're not very rewatchable. I love the DCEU. They are rewatchable, by the way, but I'm talking about Hollywood all round now. So, yeah, so it's funny as a youngster. So now we did have a critic that we could trust in Barry Norman when people my age were younger. But now there's very, very few kind of bloggers, podcasters, pundits and critics I actually trust. One of those is Paul Shirley. I really like Paul Shirley, but someone was accusing him of being corrupt because he liked Battle Alita. Now, actually, Paul Shirley, go follow him on Twitter. He's actually a good guy and speaks really honestly about the stuff. And I actually like Paul. So I was disappointed that people were accusing him of that, because he is a good guy. I mean, he is a good guy and he's very honest. So, but you're missing the point. There are a lot of kind of corrupt bloggers and podcasters, or literally they're Disney fanboys and girls who will say a Disney film's good when it's not. I'm going off point. This video was about the golden tomato. But the point is there. The point is that now you're giving Black Panther a golden tomato. You're giving Doctor Who Season 11. Doctor Who Season 11, a golden tomato, which is an illusion of greatness. But when you go and watch that, if you dare, you'll see a very mundane, boring television show. A television show that, if we talk about the revival, was very epic and very exciting and very emotional and very soulful. But they're giving this show the golden tomato. Like that means this proves that we're all wrong about Doctor Who Season 11, and the critics and the bloggers in the mainstream media are right. That's not how it works. This is what this system is. It gives awards to things, entities that don't deserve them. And it's so wrong. And this golden tomato thing is really, for me, embarrassing. Not just for Rotten Tomatoes, but for the industry as a whole.